Kicking off this section with The Guardian, and the International Criminal Court is seeking to arrest Israel's leader for war crimes. Josh, I'm sorry to make you angry so early in the show.
Well, this is the problem, is that the more angry I get, the less articulate I am. Anyway, let's go. Okay, ICC prosecutor seeks arrest. I can't even read this. Warrants for Israeli PM and Hamas officials for war crimes. Now, first of all, they're seeking an arrest warrant, so they haven't got these arrest warrants.
Yep.
They put in the claim it's going to take a couple of months to see if it comes through. But this whole thing is a farce. This is up is down, right is wrong. It's mental to conflate the crimes that Hamas, a terrorist organisation, committed against a defensive war that Israel doesn't want to be in, had to be in, to get its citizens back and to ensure its own survival. And they're saying here that they've accused Netanyahu, who I'm not a fan of, by the way, of causing starvation as a method of war. That's disproven, like, in terms of there's just no one starving there. Do you remember all the stuff? Everyone's starving. Could you have any footage of anyone starving? Oh, no, it's not actually. People aren't starving. The denial of humanitarian relief surprise, double the amounts going in of food than there was before October 7th. And if anything, they're saying there's a growing evidence of war crimes. And if anything, over the last month or two, it's actually been more evidence of the lack of war crimes going on in terms of these numbers that are then quoted, 35,000 people, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, which is basically Hamas. Those numbers, the UN themselves have recently dropped down to about 22,000. Saying about 13 to 40,000 are Hamas terrorists. So it's actually got the lowest civilian to combatant ratio in modern warfare. And this is for urban warfare. So it's insane to accuse them of war crimes when America and ISIS, when they were fighting ISIS, were much greater casualties.
I mean, that's a fair point, but I mean, just to push back, they have focused on the aid being disrupted, which Israel said it was going to do early on in the war. I mean, since then
there was a couple of days
they've allowed aid through. But that was obviously a mistake, a strategic mistake by them to say that, knowing full well that they couldn't starve a population. But that's still what they focused on here, and that's still, a charge that they could probably
There were mistakes made early on, and certainly in some of the language used by Netanyahu, and this is in the immediate aftermath of war, and it wasn't statesmanlike. There was a lot of anger, but they didn't go, like, when they said we're going to destroy them or kill, they're very clearly talking about Hamas. We're going to eradicate them.
First of all, though, for Netanyahu, this is just another arrest warrant. He's already built up a few, and he'll probably form a new coalition government with the ICC and get away with it. I think the whole thing is I wonder whether it's partially that the atmosphere that's going on at the moment, they feel a need to both sides it, because if they just prosecute Hamas, the world's going to erupt right now. And I'm not saying that's right at all, but I'm saying
public opinion. I mean, obviously there's horrific footage coming out of Gaza. I mean, some of it's fake.
But that's because we're seeing a war in a way we're not used to seeing wars. We don't normally. It's unprecedented to hear numbers of deaths on a weekly basis going on in a war, especially when there's no reason to believe their accuracy whatsoever. And we're seeing footage that is coming. Some of it is unverified, and some of it is from Gaza, some of it is from Syria, some of it is from Yemen and Sudan and so on. And this keeps happening. So if I believe for a second they were going to properly prosecute this case and look into it and find out what did happen with the food and water, and where was Hamas involved in it? Were they stopping? Which we know they've been very much involved in stopping food getting through. They've been, at one point, UNRWA complained that people in Gaza couldn't afford the food. Why were they trying to afford food that's being given for free?
They found stockpiles of food. Hamas, now they've gone into Rafah.
But also now there's 30...
found all these stockpiles of food that Hamas have confiscated.
Kana said that when you show willing to apply law equally and look at both sides, but there's not two sides here. There's other sides as well. There's UNRWA and its involvement. There's, of course, Iran. There's the 30 tunnels that has been found going into the Rafah crossing, in which we know now that around about 1,000 Hamas fighters managed to escape through those tunnels, probably through those tunnels. And Egypt's involvement needs to also be examined.
Green Party councillors would say that there are two sides.